August 11th, 2020. And I'll read the notice. Notice, this meeting will be held in accordance with Executive Order N-29-20 issued by California Governor Gavin Newman on March 17, 2020. The Ralph M. Brown Act, California Government Code Section 54950 UTSCQ, and the Federal Americans with Disability Act. This meeting will not be physically open to the public. All members of the public may participate in the meeting via video conferencing at, and the number is 989-123-13715. Or video telephone conference by calling in 669-900-6823, meeting ID 989-123-3715. And will be given the opportunity to provide public comment. With that, I'd like to have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Billy, would you like to do the invocation? Sorry, I sit down.
Thank you, sir. Thought for the day: count the garden by the flowers, never by the leaves that fall. Count your life with smiles and not the tears that fall. That's most gracious. We thank you for the opportunity to serve our community. This is a tough time in our state. We ask your blessings on everyone in our community and the surrounding area. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Murray. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Well, anyway, can we have roll call, please, Michael?
Yes. Councilmember Day? Present. Councilmember Graham? Here. Councilmember McDonald? Mayor Pro Tem Candia?
He's here, but he's muted, and I tried to unmute, but he is on the line.
Okay, there he is. And I'm here. Mayor Martina.
Okay, so everyone's here except Leroy. Okay, number 5 is declaration of conflict of interest. Is there being any tonight?
None.
None. Okay, moving on to item 6 is ceremonial matters, and there's none tonight. 7 is items for the public, using non-agenda items. At this time, I'd give the public the opportunity to say anything they'd like to the council. If they would raise their hand, and maybe we'll let them talk to the council.
Thank you, Mayor. So for members of the public wishing to make public comment during the agenda item tonight, you can do so by pressing the raise hand button under the participants tab. If you are calling in by phone, you can press *9 on your phone as well, or alternatively, you can send me a message and I can unmute you on my end. At this time, Mayor, I do not see any hands for public comment.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 8, which is consent calendar. A, waive all readings of ordinance and resolution except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of the July 28, 2020 meeting.
I move for approval of the consent calendar as read.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. 5 with 1 absent. Moving on to 9, which is public hearing, and there is none tonight. Item 10. A, adopt resolution 2020, next number, a resolution adopting policies for administration and procurement of agricultural and engineering A and E serve for the state aid federal funded transportation project.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one. The City of Newman is responsible for constructing transportation projects that are state and federally funded. In order to comply with the regulations, certain services are contracted out to our engineering firms. As part of that process, we're required to adopt the written policies and procedures for the procurement, management, and administration of engineering and design-related consultant services in accordance with applicable federal and state laws and regulations. The attachments that came with this agenda item identify Chapter 10, which gives us everything that we're required to go by to award and manage federally funded projects. It also establishes our organizational capacity and resources for the procurement, management, administration of engineering and design-related consultant services, reimbursed in whole or in part with federal aid highway program funding, and then also implements policies for avoiding conflict of interest as mandated by the FHWA. The attachments, we go by this process, but the Caltrans has changed a few things recently where we actually have to adopt it and have it on record, and so that's what we're doing this evening, and I'll be glad to take any questions and try to answer them to the best of my ability.
Any questions for Kathleen tonight? Being no questions, I'd like to give the public a chance to comment on this adoption.
Thank you, Mayor. For any members of the public wishing to provide public comment on this item, you can do so by pressing the raise hand button under the participant tab, or you can press *9 on your phone if you are calling in. And at this time, Mayor, there are no members of the public wishing to provide public comment on this item.
Thank you, Lydia. We'll bring it back to the council for direction.
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2020, that's the number of resolution, adopting policies for the administration and procurement of architectural and engineering A&E services for state and federal funded transportation projects. I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Motion carried 4 with 1 absent.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to B, consideration of time change for the city council meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one. So, periodically we check our city code to just make sure we're in compliance. Things are always constantly in flux, and we have a long list of things that are coming up. One of the things that we did notice was on the section under the meetings of the council, it identified our old location. So it specifies that 1200 Main Street is the location for the city council meetings. As you know, we have since relocated to 938 Fresno Street. So we're making that change and bringing that forward to you. Because we've recently had some changes in start times due to doing this over Zoom, we just wanted to have a conversation with the council, or have the council have a conversation with us anyways, on whether or not we wanted to permanently move the start time to 6 p.m. or leave it at 7 p.m. And so I know Zoom meetings are a lot different than meeting in regular time and having to get here. So we just, again, wanted to have that conversation with the council and get some direction as we prepare a ordinance amendment coming to you in the next probably 30 days. So with that, I'll just open it up to the council, and you guys just give us direction.
I looked at this thing, this proposal, and I'm concerned by changing the time. We have 3 members of the council who work out of town, It's apparent tonight that there are two of them who can't make the 6 o'clock meeting, but have been able in the past to make the 7 o'clock meetings. So my recommendation, my preference would be to keep the meetings at 7 p.m.
I'd like to... Go ahead, I'll speak next. Okay, I'd like to chime in. To be totally honest, I'm actually the one that probably said to Michael, hey, why don't we change this to 6 o'clock? And I said it's more beneficial for our city employees, Michael, Mike, everybody else. I mean, they probably get off at 5, so 6 o'clock is much better for them having to stick around town or go home and come back. Personally myself, I used to get off around 4:30, 5 o'clock, so 6 o'clock is no problem for me anymore. And it just depends what the rest of the council wants.
This is Casey. I'll speak on my belief. I have kind of a twofold. Earlier is better in my opinion. However, I do have an issue with it because most people work out of town in general, whether they're part of the city council or whether they are regular citizens. And a majority of people work 8 to 5 jobs and they work out of town. So that's about an hour to get home from most places. Modesto, 45 minutes, Turlock, 35, 45 minutes. And even if you're a citizen wanting to come to the meeting, you're going to be hard pressed to make it there on time with the meeting till that 6. So, for personal reasons, 7 works better for me. I'd love to have it at 6. It makes it tight. I can make it, but it makes it. I got a little window I play with, but I'll be able to make it. But overall, I think for citizens and potential further going forward with new members of city council or mayor, those people, they also work too. So I think 7 is. I think it was 7 for a reason because reality is we're somewhat of a commuter town and people work 8 to 5 elsewhere. And so it'd be most beneficial and give the most opportunity to most people to come and say their piece or participate in our meetings. I think 7 would still be a very reasonable time.
This is Leroy. Actually, excuse me, guys, for being late. I had some technical problems trying to hook in, and please forgive me for that. But I kind of agree with you. I think the 7 o'clock gives the commuters or whoever wants to participate in the meetings, in the evenings, as far as residents, to give them time to participate. So I think 7 o'clock has been really great, and I know that this has been, the 7 p.m. has been going on for some time now, and I guess to move it down to 6 would probably be sort of a hardship too, and even at 7 is sort of a hardship for people like Kathy and service people that are basically working for the city, like yourself, Michael, and Mike. So, but 7 o'clock, I think, will give the residents the opportunity to participate.
Okay, is there any other comments? I think you have all the comments, Michael. I do.
May I just ask, just for follow-up, because we have been running these meetings, these Zoom meetings at 6 p.m. We can change those to 7 if the council would like. Is there any direction on that? Are we okay at 6 right now? I don't really see us changing these council meetings and meeting in person for at least another 30 to 60 days. So,
Michael, this is Casey again. With the Zoom meetings, you can come in from anywhere. I'm driving home right now, and other people are, and they can get on these meetings very easily at 6 o'clock and be able to participate just as equally. I don't think there's a problem with the Zoom meetings being held at 6. The in-person meeting's a little bit different because you have to drive home and physically get there by a certain time, and that makes it a lot more difficult than being able to chime in as a citizen from a distance.
fair enough. That's fair enough. We just want to check in with the council, and we'll present it however you want, but it's sounding like 7 is the hour we want to remain at, so we'll make that minor change, and then get that to you. So we'll leave the start time at 7 p.m. for now.
Okay, do we have a motion on this to,
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion. We'll do that when we get to the, when we get to the ordinance, then that'll be the time for the council to take formal action.
thank you, Michael. And with that, we'll move on to item 11, items from District 5 Nassau County Supervisor, Mr. Jim DiMartini. Jim, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I figured out how to unmute myself. Me and technology really not really good friends. It's hard for me to operate this thing, but I think I got it this time. Okay, I've a couple of things I'd mentioned before, but I want to be sure everybody is aware of it, that the Nassau County has business grants available for businesses that have been affected by the coronavirus, for businesses that have up to 25 people. The grant available would be $25,000. A larger business has up to 50 employees. The maximum amount would be $50,000. They have $10 million to give out in grants. These are not loans, they are grants. They come from the federal government. So you can apply for those on the county's website. It's up now. The applications will go through August 28th. And I want to make it clear to everybody that it's not a first come, first served. You're just as likely to get the grant if you apply on the 28th as you do tomorrow. Now, the applications will be scored, and then but it doesn't matter what date that you applied for it. There is, in addition to the business grants, there is $4 million for small nonprofits. They could show us that they've been affected by the coronavirus. We have grants. I'm not sure what the maximum amount for that is, but it could be up to $25,000, as I think it is. And then there's a gift card program for stores that's $1 million total, and that's if you have buy one get half off on the next thing, or the next buy one meal get the second meal free if you want to give out something like that. We have $1 million that we're going to put out for that. That's something kind of new and innovative, but I think it might work well for some businesses. Anyway, that's on the county website, so if you have any trouble with it, just call my office and they can walk you through it. We also have people in the county staff that will help businesses navigate your application. So if you've got the application, you find that you have questions about it, or it's something about it is difficult for you to figure out, and you have county staff that will help you complete your application and be sure it's submitted. So anyway, so up to August 28th, you can apply. So it'll be $15 million total with everything. So I usually have a meeting most every week with Public Works, and just for your information, the Hills Ferry Bridge is kind of a rush replacement on that. They say the bridge is in very bad shape, and any high flows in the river next year that would erode the foundations any worse would cause closure of the bridge. We're not there yet, but that could happen. So they are really trying to move that project on and get the engineering done and get that bridge replaced, because it may not be structurally sound if there's another high floodwaters this year that washes away any more of the foundations. But the project will be funded, and it is moving along actually faster than most projects because of the condition of the bridge. And then the only other thing I have is in our healthcare task force, like pretty much all nonprofits, has had a really difficult year getting anything done because of the social distancing and the meeting in municipal government spaces. We haven't even been able to meet I have sent out some emails, so we are going to do the art and essay contest this year. I'm going to make appointments with each of the superintendents to just see how we can get our theme into the classroom. You know, Governor Newsom is not allowing the schools to open yet. I don't know how long this is going to last, but we have to get our theme into the classroom, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult this year if students are having to be at home instead of in the classroom. But anyway, I'm going to talk to all three of the school superintendents, and then the task force is, I had sent out some sample themes about 3 weeks ago. I'm going to send them out again, then we're going to have to vote on it. But we have had just a tough year like everybody else because we haven't been able to meet. We haven't had, we were not able to do the health summit. Everything is all set. We had all the vendors set up and the speaker and everything, and it's all scrapped. But we are continuing on, so we will have a calendar this year. And that's all I have tonight, unless you have any questions for me.
Thank
Any
you.
questions for the supervisor?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. I will shut my microphone off. At least I'll try.
That's okay. Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 12, items for the city manager and staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, on behalf of the community and business community, I want to thank Jim and the Nassau County Board of Supervisors for making those grants available. You know, it's a difficult time for a lot of businesses, and so I think it's going to be very helpful. With that being said, I know Allie's already posted all that information on all of our social media sites, and then she keeps bringing it back up to the top. So we'll make sure that it stays on top and is getting out to as many people as possible, so people and businesses and nonprofits in our area can try to access that. We continue to work on what is commonly referred to as the Newman Community Conservation Area. That's our 3 project out on the Canal School Road project site. And, you know, there's multiple projects out there. So we're moving forward with a $600,000 grant that we received a few months ago and trying to move that forward, making sure all the environmental work is done and the design work is done out there. So that $600,000 is there to help the city install roughly about 10 acres of inland wetlands. I know the state is pretty excited about this project. Not a lot of projects of this nature are occurring in the San Joaquin Valley, so they're very excited to participate with that. Newman Eats starts on Friday, so again, that's the program that the council has shut down Main Street between Fresno and Merced. And the restaurants are going to be opening up and bringing their tables out, and that'll be occurring starting this Friday. I know there's a lot of excitement that's occurring. Some people are wanting to make reservations. They're told that they should just contact the restaurants directly. So it looks like we got a full bill on that. So that's very exciting on that one. The election sign up for the city council election. The deadline is tomorrow. At this point in time, we have 2 candidates for the mayor position and 3 qualified candidates for council. There'll be 2 vacant council seats. So again, the election starts tomorrow. Most people, if you haven't pulled tables already, we haven't had any not returned, very difficult to get that all completed in one day. So it's looking like that's what it's going to turn out being, is 2 candidates for mayor and 3 candidates for the city council. And then lastly, on July 23rd, we wrote a letter to our local gym owner advising him that he was not in compliance with state standards for operating gyms under the current governor's order. Today, our public health officer, Dr. B, has issued a cease and desist, and that will probably be delivered tomorrow to the gym owner. And that operator has a facility here in town as well as a facility in Houston. So just trying to keep you updated on that. You may hear that information that is going to be posted and delivered either tomorrow or the next day. So with that, I can answer any questions that the council may have.
Yeah, Mike, I got a couple questions. One is, what's the time on the this Friday's event?
I believe it's 6 to 9 p.m. Yeah.
Okay. And the gym people basically have been functioning, I guess, for the last month or so, and I guess they have ignored, I guess, the notices that have been given to them, and basically, I've had a complaint from a couple of people in reference to that, and there's two things: is that the gym is not complying, and then the people walking around without masks, and how is that enforced?
Okay, there's two separate issues. One is the gym. Again, our city attorney has been working with the county official. Again, remember this is a public health issue, so any cease and desist order has to come from the public health officer. So our attorney and the city attorney from the city of Houston have been working with county counsel on Dr. B and drafting a cease and desist order for the operator of the local gym. That order also includes guidelines for how he can reopen. There are guidelines that allow them to operate. They just have to operate within those parameters. Those parameters generally require them to move their operation outside. So that would be delivered. And then with respect to masks, are you talking about like the people that are in the gym working out with masks?
Well, I guess you guys might have gotten the same letter from some young lady by the name of Mary. She's complaining about that people walking out with no mask, and that she was wondering if the police department has some jurisdiction in reference to enforcing the mask. So I mentioned to her that I'm not really sure how that's worked, because all across the nation, people walking around without masks, and that there's no real actual enforcement for somebody to walk up to someone and tell them to wear a mask. So I guess I just brought this up simply because she said that she had supposed to. I'm not sure if it's Chief Randy or someone in the police department in reference to enforcing people to wear masks.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask Newman to step in on this one too, but our current police department is not enforcing masks on anybody. My understanding is it's a guideline that is strongly recommended, but I don't know if it's an enforcement issue. Now, if someone went into a business without a mask and that business owner wanted our police department to escort them out because that was their policy, we would do so at that point in time because they're encroaching on their private property, and that's the way the private property owner wants it to be operated. But we're not enforcing it if people are out walking and exercising and they don't have a mask on. I think there's different ways of looking at that. Some people say if you're outside walking and you're not within 6 feet of people, then there's no reason for a mask. But maybe Newman can add a little bit more into that.
I can, Michael, and you're right. So Michael is correct in stating that the enforcement issue on the mandate on masks for individuals is really more predicated on education and educating members of the public of the importance of wearing it, because the practical reality of enforcing that on individuals is a little bit more difficult. There are cities around the state that have passed ordinances that would enforce that on individuals, but a lot of the cities have crafted it, as Michael said, as enforcement against the businesses. Because, again, businesses have a little bit more, it's easier for a business to try to enforce it on their customers than it is to go after each individual person. So it really just depends at the local level what the direction is. So I think from the enforcement component, it's more about education and going after those bad actors like the gym, as an example, that one, shouldn't be operating, and two, aren't doing all they can to help the social distancing and mask mitigation for their business when they are open.
Well, just like I said, I received a letter and I was sort of compelled to just bring it up. I kind of figured there wasn't, no real enforcement in terms of law officers for the city of Newman to walk around and tell people to put masks on. So I was, like I said, I was just compelled to just bring it up and hoping that people will understand how serious this pandemic is.
Does anyone else have any other comments?
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other comments for Michael? Okay. All right, then I'll move on to Ally. Are you on the line?
I think we're up in the alley's on tonight, Mayor.
Oh, okay. Well,
She's there. She's there.
oh,
There she is.
okay.
Hello?
Huh?
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties on my side. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Just to remind you guys, Newman East is this weekend, this Friday. We will be closing down the Main Street 1300 block from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. to do the afternoon Newman Eats part. All of the restaurants are taking part of it, including some vendors. We have Woody's Barbecue, Hawaiian Food, and Philly's Gillies, who's going to partake in our downtown eats, as well as all the other restaurants. So Southeast Fish Grill will actually be there this time around as well. And then Pizza Plus, El Campestre, and Dos Aguas is also participating. And good time. So they'll all definitely be ready to go. So we're hopefully having a great event this time around. Seems to get a lot of community attention so far on social media, and Manos newspaper has done a great job, getting us out there, letting people know. Apart from that, sports are moving a little bit slower than usual, just waiting on the county to figure out what's going to happen here in the near future. Other than that, I can take any questions y'all may have.
Any questions for Ally tonight? Well, thank you, Ally, for all you're doing to set this up. I think it's going to be something special. I think people are looking for a way to get out of the house, and this may be a way to do it. So we thank you. Thank you from the council.
Wear your mask.
I'll wear the mask when you start eating.
Absolutely. I'll be social distancing, absolutely. And hopefully the community understands as well the social distance and keep a safe space.
Anyway, thank you so much, Ally. Okay, with that, we'll move on. Chief Richardson, are you on the line?
I am, Mayor. Good evening.
Good evening.
Just to update everyone knows today was the first day of school back in Newman, and I have to tell you that traffic was not a problem. This is the first time that we haven't had any calls for parking or double parking or walking across the bus line. It was very nice, so we wanted to thank everybody for that. No, in all seriousness, I don't have much tonight, so if you have any questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Any questions for our chief tonight?
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, keep it up. Okay. Lou, tell us about financially. Are we in good shape?
We are in good shape. Evening, Mayor, council members. We're doing pretty good. I didn't have anything in particular to report tonight. We're continuing to work with our auditors to do our regular financial audit, and we're also working with Stan Cogg's auditors to do the Measure L audit, putting stuff together and sending them off to them. And so far, we've not been able to find any issues. We're able to comply with all of their requests. Be happy to answer any questions you have on any items.
Any questions tonight for Lou? Anyway, thank you, Lou. We appreciate all you do. And with that, Catherine, you have anything for us tonight?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to give everyone a really quick update on Well 10. The construction crews have mobilized. They're out on the site. they're doing the clearing and grubbing of the site right now, and gonna start, you'll start seeing activity out there. And that's all I've got.
What were you referring to, the work on the corners where they're going to change the alignment? I guess some of them were, they're not correct. Is that what you're talking about? I'm sorry, Catherine.
So for the well 10 construction,
Yes.
they're on site, actually starting to clear the property of, there's weeds out there and things, and so they've got equipment out there. They'll set their temporary power and their equipment, and they're starting to construct the well.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any questions for Catherine? Come on, guys. Anyway, Chief Bowen, are you on the line?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I don't have too much to report. I did shoot out a media blast earlier this week. We have been responding mutual aid for a couple fires in the area, but day-to-day for us as usual.
Dave, this is Murray. We're headed into some weather for the rest of this week. Have we got visions made for that?
So we are showing an increase in temperatures, especially close to the weekend. We do have means if we needed to come up with some kind of a cooling location, we could make that work. I'll work with staff and see how what that trigger point will be and where we want to place that.
Thanks. I'm concerned because I noticed maybe 105, 107 degrees. It's getting pretty warm.
Yeah, I did take note of that, and I'll work on a plan. I'll get it to you.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Okay, no other questions for the chief. We'll move on to the council. Okay, Casey, do you have anything for us tonight?
No, not really. Excited about Friday and being able to be downtown, hopefully. It sounds like it's going to be a good event. Sounds like a lot of people want to go. Hopefully this madness ends soon and we're all stay safe in the process and get past this and move along. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Casey. Leroy, do you have anything for us tonight?
No, just be safe, and I every night before I go to bed, I lift up a prayer for the city of Newman and our services that we have. So be safe, guys. God bless you.
Thank you. Nick, do you have anything for us tonight?
I have nothing tonight.
Thank you, Nick. Murray, do you have anything for us tonight?
Just for everybody to be safe. This is a tough time for us.
Okay. And the only thing I have, of course, I'd sure like to be in the room with everybody.
Me too.
It's so damn different that I don't know, it's strange, but anyway, but I guess we'll get through it. But anyway, thanks for all the efforts you put in to make this work. Anyway, with that, I'd like to ask for adjournment.
So move.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Goodbye.